ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first episode of our live podcast here on the Cayden Henschel channel. What?
Live.
But today we are joined with Crosby Slosher. Some of you guys know him as Slush Nation. So he has a YouTube channel. He goes crazy. 6,000 subs. He goes off. He's also a member on my wrestling team. Also my wrestling partner. And so today we're going to pick his brain a little bit, kind of talk wrestling. And I want these to kind of be like longer videos. So if you guys want to, sit down, maybe you're going on a run or you're working out, you can listen to these things and kind of, see what's going on in the wrestling world. This is wrestling for wrestlers by wrestlers. So we're going to hop right in. So the first thing we are going to talk about is, of course with this virus, we're staying in, right? We got 4 weeks off from school, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have off of school. But how do you get better as a wrestler? Because I guess for us, we can't go into the wrestling room, can't go into school, can't wrestle, and also our club closed for 2 weeks. So how do we get better? How are you getting better?
I've been doing body weight workouts, like push-ups, pull-ups. I also Cayden has this little setup we're in here in his last video with his workout room, and in my basement we have some weights. So I've just kind of been doing whatever I can. I've been doing stance in motion in my living room, and I feel really weird doing it, but
that's what champions do.
Yeah, it's the only thing I really can do. So
that's true. And are you doing anything with your mindset? What are you doing to better that? Because they say wrestling's 90% mental, and you can do these physical things, but
I went outside and meditated,
nice.
You told me to.
Yes, that is what you gotta do, guys. Sometimes you can do all the work in the world. You can be the hardest worker in the room, but if your mind's not right, you can't get anything done. And so that's super awesome. So next thing we're gonna talk about is the goals, and I kind of want this to be a short segment because we talk about this a lot. But so what are some short-term and long-term goals? What are some goals that you set, and how can you really accomplish those goals? Because some people may say, I got this goal, but I have no idea if I can do it. It's so far out, but I still want to set it because I kind of want to, maybe get close.
Like wrestling?
Yeah.
A short-term goal could be you can only shoot a high crotch on one leg, so you want to get better at shooting on the other leg. Short term, so you just start working your opposite side. And for me, for short term, I would just try and do it all, or not all, but do what you can in the wrestling room. But obviously, right now you can't.
True.
So I don't know how to.
You know how to say
for short term, I know long. I can do long.
Do long term. Do long term.
For long term, you really just. I wrote all my goals down at the end of each season for next season. I put all the same goals on my bathroom door because I know that I have to go in and out of the door every day, so many times per day. So then I see the goals every day, and I put my mindset principles on my door.
Do you want to recite them right now?
Sure.
Let's recite the mindset goals for us.
I am thankful for the opportunity to wrestle. I am aggressive and relentless. I have no fear of losing or making mistakes. I will never, ever give up.
Let's give him a round of applause, everyone. Thank you, Coach Sasha, for that amazing recital of your principles. That is awesome. Okay. Well, I guess I kind of want to talk about goals for a little bit. So one thing, especially from me, when I joined, pretty much my main goal for whatever is to be a high school wrestling state champ, right? Because, my dad won and I wanted a picture up in the gym. And so literally this has been what I've been thinking about probably most in my life. And I literally woke up every day and, you think about it, it's oh my gosh, I want to do that, and I want it. I want it so bad, right? And so I think that you got to be obsessed with your goals. You got to really want it, because if you just want a goal because you think it'll make your parents happy, or you're gonna think you're gonna get a girlfriend or whatever, that's you gotta want it for yourself. Of course, it's not just yourself that makes it happen. Of course, you have everybody around you, but I think you have to really be obsessed with it yourself in order to make it happen. But once you accomplish a long-term goal, I think when you accomplish short-term goals, it is, it's super great, but it's nothing compared to if you finish your your long-term goal and you accomplish it. I think it's a high that you can't feel on any drug, on anything. After accomplishing what the main thing in your life, I think you got your dreams in your life pretty much going for you at that time. I honestly didn't feel it in my life that I had any stress or anything. It was just, I was just there, and it was awesome.
I put my things up on my door halfway through the season, probably about, and I would say them every time I went through the door. But every goal I put on the door, I accomplished this past season.
That's good.
Like, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
What was some? What was some?
I will win conference. I will make it to state.
Mm-hmm.
I will place at state. I think I will win regionals. I didn't put I will win sectionals. But I would say it, but I just never put it up there.
True.
I just put I will make it to state.
Yeah. So guys, I think that's one thing that we can take away is that repetition breeds success. Every day Crosby, shut up. Every day Crosby goes and he sees his goals. He sees them with his eyes. He says them with his mouth. He hears them through what he's saying.
I taste them.
He tastes his goals on the mat. Looking like. No, but I think that's one thing is that repetition breeds success. So that's awesome. Let's also talk about sports, social media, and how some athletes kind of step away from social media. Like you see Jordan Burroughs, David Taylor, Kyle Dake, they're put out on Instagram. They're gonna be saying like, I'm 2 weeks out from this big tournament. I'm gonna step away from social media, stop posting, stop looking at the comments, and just kind of focusing on your thing. Like at least for me, I definitely didn't step away from social media. Did you at all? I assume no. Yeah. So I think it's kind of a give or take. Like we've never tried out, so we don't know the benefits or whatever.
I've stopped looking at like rankings and brackets.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good point. I think I stopped looking at once I saw the bracket. I didn't want to look at it again because then I'm like, ooh, if I beat this guy, then I'll have this guy, and if I lose, I go here. But that's if I lose. But that's never a good thing to think about if you're wrestling and you think you might lose and where you're gonna end up in the brackets. But yeah, I mean, I do understand why they step away from social media because Gary Vaynerchuk says a lot of the time that he doesn't hear all the positive people that are saying like you're the best, you're awesome, but he also doesn't hear the people who are say, you suck, this guy's a fraud, whatever. Like he literally doesn't even listen to that, and he just is himself. So I mean,
can I add something?
Yeah, go for it.
So I've been calling everybody out who watches these videos. We both post a picture of us sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm 160 pounds. This dude wrestled 132 this past year. And people, I look at both of our comments. People are like, on my comments, no way he puts that up. Put that up. Prove it. You can do 225. You can't do 225. Go on Cayden's. This dude's actually doing 225. Cayden comments back, yeah. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, he's so light doing 225. No way. He's so awesome. Are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm 30 pounds out.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But I mean, I guess for real life though, I can bench 245, and I don't think Crosby can bench 225. So all you guys were right, but still.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a quick shout out, guys. Go follow our Instagram. Crosby is blowing up. I always thought you'd be, one of the cool kids, like a really cool kid, if you got over 1,000 likes. So Crosby's at that level. So
without a shout out this time.
Yeah, without a shout out from me. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So now we got some more things to talk about. So another thing that we would like to talk about is that losing is learning. And I after I didn't make it to state last year, my junior year, I pretty much changed my whole belief that if I lost, I would learn something so much more better. So how did you use this as losing is learning? It's kind of cliche, but it works.
Well, I've lost a lot of times in my high school career.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times.
Mm-hmm. So how did you think, because this kind of made me not beat up my own ego and made me think, oh my gosh, I suck.
Yeah, you were a lot more full of yourself junior year compared to senior year.
I was more full of myself junior year?
That was a joke.
Yeah, it better be. But okay, so especially after I lost this year to Jake Strateski, my only loss this season, I literally wasn't upset at all after the match because I literally knew that I was gonna be so much better from this. If you can understand how you can get beat, you can literally stop that. And I really didn't think about that until I lost. And after I I had a one-on-one session with Max Askren, and also just did some other practices here and there, some extra ones. And you know, after you learn how people can beat you, so for instance, my thing is the fireman's, right? I get this hold and I go right under. What he did was put this hand back so I couldn't grab it at all. And it's super simple, and that was one little thing about it. But I think just knowing that and how to counter that and how to just not get upset with myself in the match, it literally helped me. You know, I think if I didn't have that loss, I wouldn't have won state.
Oh.
So.
A lot of people say, like I was telling Cayden this, like when he talked about losses, I'm sure some people are like, oh, you went 48-1, you don't know what it's like to deal with losses, we lose all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Cause that's what I kind of felt like towards him, like not this year, but like.
Sure. Like I can't really talk about losses because I don't get a lot, and people who get like 20 losses a season.
Like my freshman year I lost 17 times, and then he lost like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
So I was like, so he would be like, oh, just come back next one. I'm like, dude, you don't even lose. You don't know what it's like to lose and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So then, but like, as he said, if he wouldn't have lost that match, I don't think he would have won state. He would have lost. He probably got teched in the finals.
I probably would have got beat in the semis. Now we're gonna switch it up a little bit. We're gonna be talking about also some wrestling gear. And so, for instance, there's this one thing that I have, and this guy named Cayden. We're together. We're in the wrestling hype house. It's this thing on TikTok. We're kind of the biggest wrestlers on TikTok come together and make these videos. We also got a group chat. We're all cool with each other.
Weird that I'm not in it.
It's because Crosby doesn't make TikToks. But anyway, so Cayden came out with this awesome shirt, and now if you sweat, the shirt actually, comes to life, and you can actually see the real shirt. So you guys, can go cop that. I mean, because I know a lot of you guys were asking me about that, so it's pretty cool. I'll link it in the description, and you guys can get $5 off. If you use the code in the description below. Also, Seth Gross came out with another banger shirt, and me and Crosby copped that. So we're pretty excited when that comes. I think I have an idea. Is that we're gonna take a picture like me, you, Jordan, Casey, and we're gonna Photoshop a picture of Seth Gross in there. So yeah, so I think that would be super awesome. So
or Seth Gross could come.
Yeah,
and
Seth
I could give him a spanking of a lifetime.
So Seth, if you're watching this, Seth, if you're watching this, please wrestle Crosby. Let's set it up. Let's do it. Everyone wants to see it. But yeah, that's that on this segment. All right, now we're going, and we're talking about, of course we're just talking about gear, but this is strictly wrestling gear. So a lot of people come under the assumption that if you have the best wrestling gear, the most expensive wrestling gear, that you're going to wrestle so much better. And I think this is, super false. A lot of people, focus so much on it. And of course, a lot of times it's, super cool. You get, the best stuff, you're waiting to get it. And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna look so cool. This, whatever, good for your ego, whatever it is. But I think I want to talk about a little bit that just because you don't have the most expensive things doesn't mean that you're gonna lose against a guy who has, better gear. And I think that's what a lot of, younger wrestlers and less experienced wrestlers do not understand. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I remember my sophomore year, I wrestled a dude with like mat flexes at mid-states, and I was like, hey, this dude sucks. Like, he has mat flexes, there's no way I lose to this dude. Okay. And I got pinned in like the second period.
Yeah, so that's a perfect example that just because if someone doesn't have the best gear, doesn't mean that they're a scrub. Just means that everyone that does wear mat flexes can pin Crosby. All right. Alright, so now I want to talk about some mental techniques, and one of these things that I use throughout my whole season, and especially at the state tournament, is believing that I already won. So I wrestled the entire, of my senior year believing that I already was a state champion. And so, did you use this at all during your year? Believing that you already won?
Yeah.
You did, tell me.
Like what about it?
Tell me, what do you think? Sure, you can say you believe you already won. Did you do any other things?
Oh, before my match, I would say out loud. Mm-hmm. Well, I would say my mindset principles out loud.
Mm-hmm. And were you scared going into a match? Were you ever scared going into any match?
I feel like I kind of had a turnaround point in the season where I changed my whole mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started actually doing better.
Sure.
But I don't know. I just started saying stuff out loud, saying I'm the best. Nobody can beat me. I just gotta. I would say I'm thankful for this opportunity. This is just another opportunity to show I'm the best. That type of stuff.
True. Yeah, I totally agree.
Conference, I remember when I would saying this stuff out loud, and that was the first tournament of the year where I went into every single match like without an ounce. I don't even know how. Like I just felt like no pressure on me at all.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy.
And I think you wrestle so much better, like without that pressure. Like if you think about it, if you're wrestling in a big tournament and just like thinking and like just sleeping on like you already won, like you have the championship. You look to both of your sides. There's your two competitors, the rest of the competitors. You're on top of the podium. You're holding the bracket sheet, and just knowing that before the tournament happens, that hey, I already won this tournament. I just got to go out there and do it. And so I think that, that fear of failure, it can just, wash away, and I think it can help a lot of you guys out there. All right, so another thing that I want to talk about is the fear of fatigue. And my mindset principal coach was talking to me about this, Stephen DeBenny, he's awesome. But so one thing he said is that a lot of people are, scared to get tired during a match. But the best thing that he told me was that, what are you doing?
I could feel my face moving.
But one thing he told me was that we wrestle at practice, for an hour and a half, 2 hours, an hour straight, grinder practice. We're sweating, it's a hard practice. And if we think about this, why does a 6-minute match, scare us? You know what I mean? Like, you wrestle 2 hours at practice, you wrestle an hour and a half live. Like, why does a 6-minute match scare you? And I think
you got scared at practice.
I got scared at practice?
Yeah, you went live against me.
What are you talking about?
Every time coach would be like live, you would be like, oh, they're new partners.
He's so stupid. No, he's completely false because I beat Crosby on neutral.
Whoa. Neutral.
Yeah, and top and bottom. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, if you wrestle 2 hours at practice, why should you be scared? And why don't you have the capacity to wrestle a 6-minute match? So, if you think about this, it's like silly. Like, you guys will not get tired in a wrestling match. Like, of course, sure, you'll get these, little, like, oh my gosh, I'm out of breath, whatever. That's why it's short sprints. That's what wrestling is. And so, you get back in there, you toughen up, and you take the dude down. So.
If there's time on the clock, there's time to score.
That's true.
At Maddie B. Fatty.
At Maddie B. Fatty, thank you for that line.
Carter, shut up! Carter! Shut up! That's how he treats all of us on his vlogs. Behind the scenes.
So the last thing we're going to talk about is a pre-match warm-up routine.
Oh, you actually put that on there?
Yes, of course I did. It's the last thing we're going to talk about. And so for me, I'm going to tell you guys this. Repetition breeds success. We talked about that at the beginning of this podcast, of this wrestling show. And, by doing the same warm-up before every single match, and you do the warm-up, you win, get your hand raised, get off the mat, do your cool-down, repetition breeds success. So doing the same thing over and over again, that'll totally help you out. So what are some things
You literally just took exactly what I wanted to say.
Well, tell me what do you want. What do you do for your pre-match warm-up?
I start out, usually I like to start out with some sprints in like the hallway to get like my blood flowing, get maybe a few drips of sweat down, and then I find an area with some opening and start doing some stance in motion.
Mm-hmm.
Stance in motion, and then I do stance in motion, and then I can't remember if I jump. I think I jump up and down a little bit, like like what most wrestlers do. And then I start walking back and forth, like what most wrestlers do. But then while I'm walking back and forth, that's when I start doing saying my mindset principles and all that type of stuff that we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And then I jump up and down some more. Take off when I'm one match out. I take off my pants. I was singling on at this point. And then when I'm up, my headgear's already on. I take off this thing, throw it to coach, go up. And then when I throw it to coach, I do 3 squat jumps.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, 3. Yeah, 3 squat jumps. Go up to the table, and then I take them down.
Yeah, and so he does this before every single match. And I think that's like I said, repetition breeds success. Crosby had a lot of success this season, accomplishing all of his goals that he set. And that's that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hopping on this podcast.
Went really fast.
Yeah, it did went really fast.
Bonus question.
All right, so my question for Crosby is, you guys can see in the back here, we got all my bracket sheets and my brother's bracket sheets. So we're going to go around the room and we're going to ask Crosby for his favorite bracket sheet, what that is. So Crosby, look for your favorite bracket sheet.
I already know what my favorite one is.
Show me.
It's right over here.
Is it the orange one?
We got Dean Neff getting pinned in 19 seconds.
Oh.
We got Jalen Spuler losing 15-4.
Ooh.
We got Maddie Bianchi losing 8-0.
Wow. And I won.
I just thought that was funny because 2 of them. Wait, let's see. State champ, third place. I think he did like a 2-time third placer.
Yeah.
State champ, second place. 2-time state champ.
3.
Oh yeah, 3. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So you could say as a little youngster, I kind of went a little crazy. But that's been it, guys. If you guys want to check out Crosby's vlog, go check him out. Guys, let's get Crosby to 7K. He's at 6.06. See if we can get him there. I know we can. Thanks for watching. See you guys next video.
Everything litty, I love when it's hot. Turned to the city, I broke off the notch. Got some more millies, I keep me a knot. I created history, it made me a lot. He tried to diss me and it don't false. We call him Chopstick cause they gonna chop. Took her out of violence cause her pussy